ever since World at War, we had a wide variety of weapons throughout the mystery box, and one in particular, the ray gun, was one that outshone every other weapon. Today we're going to be going over the history and evolution of the ray gun in COD Zombies. So grab a seat, get a drink, all that. Let's get into it. First introduced on the map Nocturne Totem, this was a quick staple within the COD Zombies fan base. Even though it was a small fan base back then, it quickly grew into the hearts of many of the players. We would see this in many other maps, including but not only Barak, Shinonuma, and also Darice. It wasn't just flashes and pretty colors that won over the player base. When pack-a-punched on Darice, this weapon could get to a maximum of about 2,000 damage. This beat out every other weapon in the game besides the Wunderwaffe, which you could combine with this weapon as well. The ray gun in World at War did its job and served its purpose, and it also set up the future generation for wonder weapons. Fast forward to Black Ops 1 and we have the introduction of the ray gun once again on Keynote or Totem. This time nothing changed. We just got the same wonder weapon, the exact same stats, and a matter of fact just placed onto another game. They obviously made it look a little bit more shiny, a little bit more colorful, just to give it a little bit more of appeal, but nothing changed about the wonder weapon whatsoever until PhD Flopper came in. A crucial part of the ray gun's history is PhD Flopper, and you might be wondering, why does a perk exactly come into picture with this? You'd have to be living under a rock if you didn't know that PhD Flopper negates ray gun splash damage, which would ultimately serve to use into the high rounds or just casual play. If you had the ray gun, it was the go-to perk to get. Some players would even pick this perk over Jug. It was insanely beneficial. It was super overpowered, and it could be used with explosives as well. It was an amazing perk, and it was so amazing, matter of fact, Treyarch said, let's get rid of it. Still, without it, the ray gun is a really good wonder weapon. PhD Flopper was a perk that formed and molded the ray gun into what it is today. And of course, after this, we'd see the ray gun on every single map henceforward, including Black Ops 2. We see the ray gun once again, but it has a little bit more of a difference. In Black Ops 2, there's a significantly higher chance you can receive this wonder weapon from the mystery box. It has less splash damage effect on the player, and also when playing buried, the gun has received a reskin, which would go henceforward from this moment. Besides what I just said, every stat is the same from World at War and Black Ops 1. In Black Ops 2, the ray gun had an issue. There were more upcoming wonder weapons that realistically beat out the ray gun, and in order to make this classic weapon good again, Treyarch remade it into the Raygun Mark II and buried. I mean, this gun kicked some serious ass. When pack-a-punch, this gun could do 100,000 damage with a headshot burst. If you by chance hit a body shot though, you were doing about 4,600 damage with one burst. This easily doubled the damage of the ray gun and made it 10 times better. I mean, everybody was using the Raygun Mark II. Everybody forgot about the ray gun just because the Raygun Mark II simply was just way better. It was easier to use, it had more ammo, better headshot multiplier. All around, it was a better weapon. This allowed the players to actually get to the high rounds with a ray gun weapon and possibly even get to the 80s just with the Raygun Mark II alone. I mean, seriously, if you're using the Raygun Mark I when this came out, you were probably a stupid idiot who lived under a rock. It was quickly a fan favorite, hence why Treyarch put it on every single map besides Buried and even Origins. Overall, the Raygun Mark II really expanded how well the Raygun was and did it in a much more better manner to make the gun actually a lot more useful. Plus, you gotta shoot 3 instead of 1. Like, how freaking cool is that? Unfortunately, the Raygun Mark II did not come to Black Ops 3 whatsoever. Rather, we got the same old Raygun, which realistically wasn't even that good. It had the same base stats as the other Rayguns prior, but rather, more wonder weapons were being revolutionized and being made into better and better wonder weapons. If you were picking the ray gun over the lightning bow or even some of the weapons like the KT-4, you should probably just face that you're bad at zombies, because if you're picking the ray gun over any of the Black Ops 3 wonder weapons, you're a numbskull. That was until the Raygun Mark III of Gorod Krovi came into existence. This dual-wield ray gun set did absolute wonders. You can make a black hole portals which would destroy enemies, and your ray gun wouldn't have splash damage. This weapon would carry you up into the 45s, and then once after round 45, you would have to consistently combine the two together in order to do the maximum amount of damage. This is the most unique ray gun we've ever seen in Call of Duty Zombies, and honestly, it is my favorite. These were perfect for the Easter egg and carrying yourself into the mid rounds. After that, eventually you'd have to use a double pack-a-punch weapon in order to get to the high rounds. It is better than the ray gun, but a little less better than the Raygun Mark II. But overall, it is part of its history. Of course, the ray gun was in Black Ops 4, but really nobody used it. That was until Treyarch added the Raygun Mark II and its upgrades in Alpha Omega. Unfortunately, all of them were garbage excluding one, but the shotgun version of all of them was the worst. It could do damage on the lower rounds, but once you got into the 30s, it was absolutely toast. Low ammo count, low damage, and low range really contribute to why this wonder weapon is garbage. A unique idea, but realistically, it flopped very hard. Unfortunately, these wonder weapons are part of the history. Why did Treyarch even make these? Let's see which Raygun Mark II we got here. They're all the same, basically. Oh yeah, we have the Raygun Mark V. Now, this is one of the ones that are actually not too bad, but realistically, it's still pretty garbage. It has literally 3 in the magazine. I don't know why they decided 3, but realistically, it's really not even that good. It has like this volcanic looking explosion. It's kind of like a supernova, but it doesn't work very well, and it is a little bit better than the shotgun version, but it's still not good. I would say it's the second best, but really I wouldn't even call them the best because they all suck. Now we have the worst of the worst, the fully automatic ray gun. The problem with this ray gun is that it does the same amount of damage as a regular bullet pack-a-punch weapon does. It's only different because it's a ray gun and it is automatic, and that you could get this dual wield as well. It doesn't really do that much damage, and on round 23, as you could tell, it doesn't really kill zombies very efficiently. This is definitely the worst of the worst in terms of the Raygun Mark IIs, and realistically, I don't know why you'd use this absolute dumpster fire. The only viable upgrade out of the 4 is the recharging Raygun Mark II. This may not do the absolute most amount of damage, but it recharges its ammo, therefore it can carry you into the high rounds. As you can tell with the damage, it really doesn't do very much, and the recharge rate isn't too shabby, but the damage you're getting for it is not a very good trade-off. I don't know why Treyarch tried to make the Raygun Mark II worse than its actual self, but they did it apparently with Alpha Omega. It's really a shame how the Raygun Mark II upgrades are horrible in Alpha Omega, and the actual Raygun Mark II Pack-a-Punched is better than each one of these upgrades. But once you've reached rock bottom, the only place you could go is upwards. And we see this with the Raygun in Cold War Zombies. This is an absolute beast, and it used to be better. As you can tell with the gameplay right now, it absolutely shreds zombies on round 25 and does it even better when Pack-a-Punched even higher. The thing about the Raygun in Cold War Zombies is it's just not the Raygun that's good. You get multitude of extra benefits, things like Deadshot Daiquiri and also Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire multiplies the damage that you output, and realistically you could go on to the hundreds of rounds just with this weapon alone. The Raygun started out as one of the best wonder weapons in Call of Duty Zombies. After Black Ops 2, it hit its very lows and ultimately almost died out in Black Ops 4. But with the revival in Cold War Zombies, it's clear as it can be that this weapon went through a full cycle and is once great again. Finally, that is the evolution and history of the most iconic weapon in Call of Duty Zombies, the Raygun.